Welcome to Kettle Creek Battlefield. This is a voice-guided tour through the Canebrake Trail, located at Kettle Creek Battlefield. My name is Hayden Miller. This tour was created as part of my Eagle Scout project. I will be walking you through the battle that happened here and bringing the story to life in today's world. Please walk to the right of the information station and through to the Canebrake Trail. The trail is approximately 3/4 of a mile long that descends from War Hill with a climb up a set of stairs at the end of the trail. As we navigate the trail, I will call out locations and tell you when to pause the program until you reach a specific destination. Let's try it now. Please press pause until you reach the bridge. You should be at the bridge. You may continue to walk along the trail as I narrate. Let's go back to February 1779. British Colonel John Boyd had been recruiting loyalists through the backcountry of South Carolina and Georgia. He successfully raised a regiment of nearly 800 loyalist soldiers. His objective was to unite with the British Army under control of General Archibald Campbell in Augusta, Georgia. As they traveled toward Augusta, the weather was miserable, cold, wet, and the troops became tired and hungry. Boyd ordered his men to set up camp on the north side of Kettle Creek in Wilkes County, Georgia. Boyd had no idea that approximately 350 patriots, led by Colonel Andrew Pickens, were in the vicinity and getting ready to attack. Pickens had scouts report to him the movements of this British force as they trailed at a safe distance, waiting for the opportune time to attack. You are now entering the supposed site of the British encampment. The area where the troops camped was a flat area between the creek and a steep hill. The troops had just recently stolen cattle from a nearby farm in hopes of having their first hot meal in days, and were unaware of any immediate threats of the nearby Patriot forces. Imagine this area filled with men gathered around fires, horses grazing on the dense vegetation, and a strong cold wind blowing through the trees. On February 14, 1779, at 10 in the morning, just north of this site, Pickett had decided the time was right and launched an attack on the British forces. He divided his men into 3 columns. On the west, Colonel Dooley, with a force of 100, would attack on the right, and Lieutenant Colonel Elijah Clark, with a force of 60, would attack on the left, leaving Pickens and his force of 200 to attack straight on and take the hill. As they approached, Pickens surpassed the Loyalist pickets' lines and forced them back into their camp. Pickens ordered his men to advance, but not to fire until he gave the order. The Loyalist pickets started firing, alerting the camp below. Please press pause until you reach the white crosses in the trail ahead. You should now be at the white crosses. As you can see all around you and throughout this tour, there are several white crosses all throughout the area. In an effort to gain a deeper understanding of the battle site, the Kettle Creek Battlefield Association has carried out a number of archaeological investigations there over the last few years. The studies employed a range of archaeological techniques with assistance from the Lamar Institute, Southeastern Archaeological Services, and Lakehead Paleo University. Using metal detectors, cadaver dogs, ground-penetrating radar, and LIDAR archaeologists thoroughly investigated the area. Their efforts culminated in the actual opening of multiple grave sites. The findings showed that the fallen soldiers were interred in shallow graves along the entire battlefield, starting at Liberty Church Hill and continue through the Kelly Branch Valley and War Hill before the surrender. Through these efforts, 27 possible grave sites were located throughout the battlefield and marked with white crosses. Please press pause until you reach a footbridge. You are now at the footbridge. As Pickens' forces advance, the left flank, Dooley, and the right flank, Clark, get delayed in swampy areas with dense cane, making it difficult to traverse and navigate. However, Pickens was able to march straight in. Boyd, in response to the shots fired by the pickets, gathered 100 men and climbed to the top of the hill, hoping to investigate the high ground in a defense line. As Pickens' men approached, they spotted Boyd in this brightly colored red coat. Accustomed to aim at officers and with or without a command and to fire. They targeted Boyd. 3 shots hit their mark and Boyd fell on the top of the hill. Mortally wounded, the British fled down the hill in panic and the camp below was in chaos, unable to get to their horses. Many British soldiers waded across the flooded creek. Press pause until you reach the creek. You are now at the creek. To the left and right of the hill, Pickens' flank columns, led by John Dooley and Elijah Clark, emerged from the swamp to join the assault on the Loyalist main line, who was retreating across Kettle Creek. Now it was Major William Augustus Spurgeon, Jr., who commanded Boyd's regiment. Spurgeon managed to cross Kettle Creek and assemble his men to regroup momentarily. Lieutenant Colonel Clark, seeing Spurgeon's attempt, abandoned his orders to attack the camp on the left and instead charging across the creek. His horse was shot under him, but he mounted another and led 24 of his men to rush Spurgeon. About this time, Dooley on the left broke free of the swamp and emerged to join Pickens' center line. They captured 150 men and pursued the fleeing enemy across the creek. The British eventually gave way, leaving behind horses and supplies and running across the creek. Even though they outnumbered the Patriots by a margin of almost 2-1 and had held the higher ground, Spurgeon took the remaining forces south towards Wrightsboro. Continue to the stairs. The Battle of Kettle Creek took place over the course of roughly 4 hours. Out of the approximate 1,000 soldiers involved, the Loyalists lost about 115 of them. Pickens' force suffered roughly 21 men killed and wounded on the Patriot side, but when their captors were dispersed, Boyd's 33 Patriot prisoners were set free. Press pause until you reach the bench and interpreter sign at the top of the hill. You are now at the bench and interpreter sign. As you stand at this vantage point, consider the aftermath of the battle. The victory at Kettle Creek was a crucial turning point. It invigorated Patriot forces and demonstrated that they could successfully engage Loyalist troops in the South. The battle also resulted in a boost in enlistments for the Patriot cause, leading to greater resistance against British rule. This moment would help set up the stage for future victories in the Southern campaign. Thank you for joining this audio tour of the Canebrake Trail at Kettle Creek Battlefield. I hope you gain a deeper understanding of the bravery and sacrifice displayed here. As you leave, take a moment to reflect on how these historical events continue to shape our understanding of freedom and resilience today.